वैराग्यसाम्राज्यदपूजनाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। कवित्ववाराशिनिशाकराभ्याम् दौर्भाग्यदावाम्बुदमालिकाभ्याम् दूरीकृतानम्रविपत्तिताभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। नताययो श्रीपतितां समेयुः कदाचिदप्याशु दरिद्रवर्याः मूकाश्च वाचस्पतितां हिताभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। नालीकनीकाशपदाहृताभ्याम् नानाविमोहादिनिवारिकाभ्याम् नमज्जनाभीष्टततिप्रदाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। नृपालिमौलिव्रजरत्नकान्ति सरिद्विराजज्झषकन्यकाभ्याम् नृपद्वदाभ्यां नतलोकपङ्क्तेः नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। पापान्धकारार्कपरम्पराभ्याम् तापत्रयाहेन्द्रखगेश्वराभ्याम् जाड्याभिसंशोषणवाडवाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। शमादिषट्कप्रदवैभवाभ्याम् समाधिदानव्रतदीक्षिताभ्याम् प्रमाधवाङ्घ्रिस्थिरभक्तिदाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। स्वार्चापराणाम् अखिलेष्टदाभ्याम् स्वाहा सहायाक्षधुरन्धराभ्याम् स्वान्ताक्षभावप्रदपूजनाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। कामादिसर्पव्रजगारुडाभ्याम् विवेकवैराग्यनिधिप्रदाभ्याम् बोधप्रदाभ्याम् द्रुतमोक्षदाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत्कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिक मे शरणं भवशङ्करदेशिक मे शरणं। करुणावरुणालय पालय माम् भवसागरदुःखविदूनकृतम् रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदं भव शङ्करदेशिक मे शरणम् भव शङ्करदेशिक मे शरणम् भवता जनता सुखिता भविता निजबोधविचार अखिलं मधुरम् वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वतनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् करणं मधुरं चरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिं मधुरा सृष्टिं मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् देवी सुरेश्वरि भगवति गंगे त्रिभुवनतारिणि तरलतरंगे शङ्करमौलि विहारिणि विमले मम मतिरास्तं तव पदकमले भागीरथि सुखदायिनि माता तव जलमहिमा निगमे ख्यात नाहं जाने तव महिमानं पाहि कृपामयि मामज्ञानम् हरिपदपाद्यतरङ्गिणि गङ्गे हिमविधु मुक्ता रक्ताधवलतरङ्गे दूरीकुरु मम दुष्कृतिभारं कुरु कृपया भवसागरपारम् तव जलममलं येन निपीतं परमपदं खलु तेन गृहीतं मातर्गङ्गे त्वय्यो भक्त किल तं द्रष्टुं नयमशक्त पतितोद्धारिणि जाह्नवि गङ्गे खण्डितगिरिवरमण्डितभङ्गे भीष्मजननि हे मुनिवरकन्ये पतितनिवारिणि त्रिभुवनधन्ये कल्पलतामिव फलदां लोके प्रणमति यस्त्वां न पतति शोके पारावारविहारिणि गङ्गे विमुखयुवति कृततरलापाङ्गे तव चेन्मातः स्रोतस्मात् पुनरपि जठरे सोऽपि न जात नरकनिवारिणि जाह्नवि गङ्गे कलुषविनाशिनि महिमोत्तुङ्गे पुनरसदङ्गे पुण्यतरङ्गे जय जय जाह्नवि करुणापाङ्गे इन्द्रमुकुटमणिराजितचरणे सुखदे शुभदे भृत्यशरण्ये रोगं शोकं तापं पापं हर मे भगवति कुमति कलापं त्रिभुवनसारे वसुधाहारे त्वमसि गतिर्मम खलु संसारे अलकानन्दे परमानन्दे कुरु
Guru Guru So welcome everyone to springtime this morning, and I'd like to thank Patricia for invoking the primordial guru. primordial archetype of self-revelation, self-knowingness, self-revealing the nature of our own being in this world. So glad everybody here. Let's extend to each other. And I'm going to start off this morning with a teeny brief reading from a little bit of a correspondence I've had with a person who spends time in Dharmasala a lot. He's a great practitioner. And he says this: I do remember one of my teachers at the Tibetan library in Dharmasala, that he names the Lama's name, telling me that in sutra practice there's a distinction between the meditation state, daily practice, and post-meditation time off the cushion. Very descriptive. But in Dzogchen, he said, any state that is not in open awareness, whether one's doing a formal meditation or in daily life, is a post-meditation state. Any state that is not in open awareness, whether when doing formal meditation or in daily life, is a post-meditation state. And the meditation state is understood as the time in open awareness rather than merely the time when one is sitting. It's open awareness. Working on blending the mind's appearance at all times within open awareness. Mind's experience at all times with open awareness, within open awareness, is the effort, subtle effort, to maintain a stable state, the meditative experience, as defined in Dzogchen, whether on the cushion or off. That's actually been our theme, hasn't it? That little text from Longchenpa called A Dzogchen Way of Living. Know the state of pure and total presence to be a vast expanse without center or border. It is everywhere the same and without acceptance or rejection. So blend the mind and its habit patterns into non-duality. Because entities, whether subjectively conceived or objects subjectively conceived or perceived directly, there's a difference between subjectively perceiving and then that direct perception that cuts through mind, are present as manifestations of being itself. Do not accept or reject them. And then, we'll sit with that for a moment. And then I'm going to ask Aaron to read some poems to us. And we're going to lean into her now, with our minds brought down into our heart. Simultaneously experience both. Yes.
Good morning. I'm happy to do these readings, and I welcome, if you wish, your extending to me. I'm sure it will help. As I understand it, I'll be reading 2 poems and a short essay, and if it remains agreeable, perhaps a longer essay. The first is about something I have struggled with, which is bliss. It's called perfect bliss, or the way things are, is not something that can be left behind. It is luminous unity, a circle joining, realizing itself as the self-originating one, self-appearing in so many different ways, as the amazing play of its spontaneously realized form. It is the result that happens by itself. Nothing is here, nothing is there, but awareness, perfectly unfolding, naturally opening, painting itself symbolically everywhere, a purity of its own primordial nature, purity enduring, remaining without study. The next one begins in Spanish, and it will be translated within the poem. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but this is the way it came. It's called Toma la oportunidad. Invocation of mind brings forth experience of meaning. Invocation of awareness brings forth experience of being. I believe this was said by Dzogchen Lingpa. Toma la oportunidad. Take the chance. Even though I am talking, I am connecting also to silence, to stillness. And in silence, in stillness, opens space. And with the opening of vast space comes awareness of us together. I cannot get lost in this space. No one gets lost in opening. Pain can be held in such space. The fire of who I am burns brightly in this place. My confidence comes from vast, unbounded space, from source opening itself beyond shape and meaning. And the source, as me, is being with a capital B, is being space thus unbounded in every situation and in every moment. Now there is no mistaking fear for truth, for I have found indestructibility, and it is I, and I am it, alive, vivid, and here. In the union of sky and light, the body of emptiness opens. The body of emptiness is. All things. When I understand the equanimity of form, I know too there are no supporting bases for names, for we are born into a place, and everywhere is the summit of the world. All things cannot help but be in the dominion of their own occurrence, in their temperament, in their differences and uniqueness. They shine forth, creating this world. In this very shining, there are every color seen and unseen. There is perhaps no truer nature than this shining through. One cannot even say it is all good, for all the horrible existences, none excepted, are also our domains. And that is a quote from the Gayagarbha Tantra. The world, as embodiment of such totality, is our bountiful lineage, perfecting itself through us to come from something full into quiet and empty and back again. Such is the endless movement of sun and moon, perfected in the boundless frame of sky. And this is the last reading. It's a little longer essay, and it begins, rather opens, with a self-created syllable that, if you like, I will show. I don't know if you can see it, it's not that large, but it is one that appeared on the page. It has no spoken language. It's not associated with a particular meaning. And it begins the essay on the stirring of elements, a syllable unspoken. As breathless breath, unbreathing, without pause we go into an elemental opening of word and symbol and space unending we go. Like free diving, we immerse ourselves in the deep organic stir of elemental wetness, whose soaking and immediate embrace cannot help but awaken us into being, into the pure wonder of immersion. It is here, in this depth, that our senses, incessantly tugging on us, may finally overwhelm us, so that we, exhausted, can at last do nothing but give way to the opening of letting go of everything we have. And in this moment, insensate, we can now be so pulled into the unequivocal no-thingness of opening that we may drop completely through the experience of saturation. It is perhaps in this blind depth that our falling may deepen into new knowing forming within us. For our plummeting through and beyond our body's senses of self somehow reinfuses and emboldens our self-made skin, warm-blooded and fine-haired, with the stir of fire rising within us, so we may know, so we may feel, beneath our skin, within our flesh, and born in the bone, the stir of earth as ground itself. And we may, if we like, turn so slightly, and just like that, a drawn syllable unspoken, a symbol that lives beyond our words, may become for us a language of this deepened realm. In our unstoppable frame of being, our house of being, a doorway opens when we, as signifiers, become so thoroughly exhausted that we become unbound. And so we may enter, finally, as our naked selves. And through this unclothed dance we may come, stripped now of whatever we once meant, or thought, or were, or sensed we might one day be. And as our layered trappings fall away, as we too finally fall, so naturally and completely fall into the depths of our yet unknowing selves, we enter all and are already in the all of everything. And all of it, absolutely all of it, is nothing more than what we already are.
Fantastico. And never for a lack of repetition, I'm going to again read Dorje Lingpa's elaborated instructions. It was so great. It was just said in all the poems, but the last one about exhaustion, in this world is described in mostly all the invocations of charnel grounds and palace. Exhaustion is really at times necessary as mind collapses, as our ego functions give up, and in that exhaustion, and falling, if we can, let ourselves fall, we fall into sublime awareness. Sometimes in the Dzogchen practitioners, in the beginning, like even the Yeshe Lama, which we didn't do when we had here, but they do these exhausting exercises, certain postures. And those postures are really simply more symbolic in terms of this natural exhaustion that happens in despair in our life, of solving the impossible with our mind alone. All the randomness, all the indeterminateness and determinedness at the same time. It's paradoxical. It's so indeterminate, what in the fuck's going to happen, and yet at the same time we're locked in determined states. And that falling opens. Longchenpa's teacher would do this because they'd camp 3 days and everyone, and they'd get up and move, and it kept moving and moving and moving. He would describe how nothing's left. Then Dorje Lingpa says, do not lose your sense of luminous awareness, open awareness. This is the whole deal right there. Thoughts are movements within awareness, and that which understands is called awareness. Non-conceptual knowingness, and remaining in this awareness is called stillness. Never separated from these three movements within the vast stillness, stillness within the movement, and direct knowingness, non-conceptual knowingness. Beyond mind. Your own awareness is the ground of the whole of samsara and nirvana, and your own awareness is the field of potentiality simultaneously. Your awareness as source is empty, and the located of awareness is timelessness, and your awareness has no destination. Awareness is, completely is. Your essence as awareness has no form, and the nature of emptiness is luminous and self-revealing, self-illuminating, self-knowing. Or the words for the Guru function. Your awareness is neither one nor many, absorbed or emanated. Everything and anything is absorbed into awareness and is emanated from awareness. As I'm reading this, comes to mind, one of the chants was to Shiva as the blue-throated one. And the blue-throated one is that metaphor of Shiva experiencing this ocean of poison and murderous fluids and terrible stuff. And then it comes in, he consumes it as awareness and metabolizes it. The power of metabolization. The power of metabolizing experience. So your awareness has no destination. Your awareness is neither one or many, absorbed or emanating. Everything and anything is absorbed into awareness and is emanated from awareness. Even right now we can be emanating, emanating the very qualities of awareness. into this world and into each other, into people we know and love, and into people we dislike intensely. Do not regard the mind and pristine awareness as two different things. The mind reflects something, and the mind is the manifestation of awareness. That's why it is easier than we think to bring our mind into awareness. It is actually an aspect of awareness, seeing singularity. Observing one thought after another is not the path. Witness consciousness is not the path. That's something we have to surrender, witness consciousness. Not easy, huh? It's a bit like surrendering paranoia. Your own awareness, sustaining your own consciousness of luminosity and pristine awareness, sustaining your own experience of and with pristine awareness is the path. Sustaining my awareness within awareness. Your own awareness, ground awareness, your own awareness is the ground of being. Your own awareness is being itself. And this is the secret of the Dakinis. Meditate on awareness within awareness and relaxing in the all-pervading ground, the pure field, unbound field. And whatever arises, whatever is experienced, is released into the great expanse of the field. This is called path awareness, huh? This letting go, this releasing. Through the absence of mental activity, ultimate reality is recognized and experienced. Through awareness and awareness alone, there is the dissolution of hope and fear, and the dissolution of affirmation and negation. Everything arises from within the space of awareness and dissolves into the space of awareness. This is natural primordial awareness, the nature of divinity. Experience the effortless nature of being that is free of all the extremes and free of coming and going. The primordial consciousness of awareness is like the sun shining in pristine sky, unmodified and natural. Your awareness of your own awareness awakens you into the essential nature of the ground of self-luminous beingness. Natural liberation is a metaphor of the sun and its rays. The ground of being has the capacity to give rise to the whole of samsara and nirvana, just as a mirror has the capacity to give rise to all the reflections and expressions and manifestations. The whole of phenomena is composed of natural creative manifestations of this ground, which is their own essential nature as primordially and completely manifest. In time they manifest in time, and in time they disappear, and in time they reappear and redisappear. Appearance which are released into the essential nature itself, released of their own accord and dissolved into the primordial womb. Know that this metaphor is like the waves which subside into the ocean. The essential instructions from Longchenpa. The central revelation is pure Gnostic awareness, which supersedes causal conditioning and deliberate effort. And there's the view, there's perception, and then surrender. Whatever appears in gnosis does not stir from the original face of gnosis. Say, whatever appears in awareness does not stir from the original face of awareness. Causality and moral conditioning are superseded in the natural perfection of the single, all-encompassing instant of the transparent, translucent here and now. Non-judgmental mind is like space, and like non-discriminatory space. Aham, I am, non-discrimination. In essence, there is no cause. There is no effect. You can feel the radicalness at this moment of making that shift. Total presence is like elemental space, and space has neither cause nor effect. Buddhahood, primordial awareness, is not realized through virtue. If it could be realized by virtue, natural, unconditioned perfection would be a lie. Unconditioned givenness. Samsara is not precipitated by vice. If evil-doing alone could precipitate samsara, self-sprung awareness would be a lie. When I speak about self-sprung awareness, I mean unceasing awareness that encompasses everything. Unique awareness has no cause, and yet it produces everything. There is no other source. We can also think back to where we entered into this on the issue of good and evil, where the text describes the arising out of primordial awareness within us and as us, this action that arises from timeless awareness into time spontaneously, It's not a function of cause. That arising, meeting the situation. Say yes if you're understanding that. Timeless awareness, self-sprung awareness, simply rising without artifice in natural gnosis. We're participating in the dynamics of all the Buddhas of the past, the present, and the future. Again, we can think of Yongtang Rinpoche's description of what he calls absolute compassion, where we enter awareness, and we enter timeless awareness more or less to the degree that we can. And from that timeless awareness arising, the great compassion arises into a person in their present, into a person in their past, and into their future. Then he says, surrendering to the Buddha dynamic, surrendering to the dynamics of primordial awareness. Making a comment again with Aaron's wonderful reading, especially that last part where in exhaustion, in the mind collapsing, in the falling apartness, in the disintegratingness of mind. And when the ego functions, whether at 5 or 7, depending, and the ego functions are no longer able to solve anything. In that moment, in that falling, that surrendering, that form of giving up, arising into awareness itself. The accumulation of cutting through to alpha purity is a dissolution of the elements, and whereas the accumulation of jumping through, leaping through to spontaneity is purification of the elements. Meaning sometimes as you and I are holding awareness, There can be simply a dissolution of everything into no-thingness. And sometimes people have described that, just even here, the experience of someone simply disappearing in front of them. At that moment, there's a dissolution of the phenomena, right? Maybe you've experienced that. And then the other is a purification, or the elements become, their nature as light begins to radiate forth. And these two realizations are similar inasmuch as both internal and external corporeality can dissolve. All suffusing radiance, the radiance suffuses us. All suffusing radiance, the same radiance that's creating everything and anything. All suffusing radiance arising, and this vast brilliance of manifesting pristine awareness, the mysterious awareness of natural perfection and experience. And the same thing is in practicing the Vajrakalaya practices, or practices of radiance, and using the radiance itself to the fire, the light, the energy, dissolve within our own self, compulsive states of mind, destructive states of mind and body, and also the light, the brightness, destructive circumstances, opening, releasing, terrible forms. So the great perfection expressively reveals intrinsic Gnostic awareness. And the illuminating composition unveils a shining lamp light of the teachings is like the heart of the sun. May all beings understand the nature of their awareness as self-sprung awareness, and without striving, find completion in the moment, the unconditioned state of natural completion. We'll just focus there for a moment. And then two more quotes from Longchenpa. Some of these are not so easy to understand. Understanding self-liberation means to be without an antidote, so that at the moment of appearances, at the moment of manifestation, they are liberated, because aside from appearances, the Dharmadhata does not exist elsewhere. So the Dharmadhata is appearances. Likewise, emptiness and so forth are not other than this mode of self-liberation. The matter of liberation is that by knowing these phenomena, all these phenomena, the whole thing, to be the Dharmadhata, all appearances are states of knowing are set free. The 5 modes of liberation are free from the basis of dependence, which means that for self-liberation, all circumstances or liberated through circumstances. Because everything is free from dependence upon the phenomena of conceptual view. For primordial liberation, all objects are liberated through objects, so they're free from the dependence upon the duality of grasping and fixation. For direct liberation, causes are liberated through causes, so this is independent of either samsara or enlightenment. For liberation from extremes, phenomena are liberated through phenomena, so they do not depend upon designated words. For singular liberation, the mind itself is liberated through itself, though this does not depend on analytically intellect. Then he quotes from a great text called The Garland of Pearls. Since all circumstances are liberated through circumstances, I do not depend upon conceptual phenomena. And since all objects are liberated objectively, I do not depend upon either grasping or fixation. And since causes themselves are liberated through causes, I do not depend upon either samsara or enlightenment. And since phenomena are liberated through phenomena, I do not depend upon designated words. And since the mind itself is liberated through mind itself, I do not depend on intellect. So uncontrived phenomenal existence is the Dharmakaya. Take delight within the enlightened awareness of this uncreated wisdom. And uncontrived elements are Sambhogakaya. Take delight within the space of uncontrived colors and rays. And uncontrived sentient beings are the Namanakaya. Within that, the unceasing expanse is uncontrived compassion. And the uncontrived alaya is exaltation. And within that, the expanse of space is uncontrived awareness. Natural wisdom is perfectly pure and non-dual as uncontrived emptiness, luminous emptiness. And this is the expanse of uncontrived self-emergent awareness. The uncontrived nature of mind is awareness, and within that, uncontrived mental events are the light of wisdom. And the uncontrived movements of thought is the intrinsic nature of light. And uncontrived sentient beings are the actual Buddhas. And uncontrived ignorance is actually awareness. And the uncontrived terrible poisons are the five wisdoms. I'm going to pass the microphone around for a little while. And if you don't mind, just briefly, simply make one statement of what you're understanding, whatever that might be. There's no one answer. This is convergent. This is divergent thinking, right? It's not a convergent. Simply make one statement about what. It's like throwing your hat, your piece into the pot of this stew. One aspect of what you're understanding right now. But briefly, no commentary, just the understanding.
The connection between the ultimate surrender and Shiva voluntarily taking on the poisons and connecting into this time of year for those of us raised in a certain culture. It was similar to what Christ did, the ultimate surrender. So there's a voluntary moving towards taking on the poisons for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Not so much an understanding, but more an experience of the uncontrivedness being liberating.
Thank you so much.
The freedom to not engage because of being unified already lets me freely engage if I choose to.
Thank you so much.
Escaping the prison of this and that.
I wish I could remember exactly what you said about the poisons and the wisdom. What it brings me to is having the clarity to see what is, and then going beyond good and evil.
I love experiencing myself as awareness.
Thank you so much.
I'm having the experience of the words that were quoted about I'm losing the words themselves, but the idea of going beyond ritual and specific words and specific actions, and that you're liberated by the confluence of phenomenon arising.
The idea of just continually cutting through experience, cutting through, and moving, that whatever we're experiencing contains within it that pure essence of all that is. And like Jan was saying, that sense of the poisons and the wisdom, that the light and the dark are one and the same.
Liberation is seeing and being everything through a dharmakaya lens.
From this place of awareness, the deep experiential knowing of the torments are the same as the ecstasy.
Self-sprung awareness, all phenomena, nothing foreclosed.
The experience of a vast, luminous, dark expanse from which each thing, people and words and cushions, emerge as both form and brilliant spinning spheres of light.
At times, surrendering to the exhaustion is the leap.
Aaron's poems and thoughts slow me down. And I realized that my ordinary mind, or in a day, or even just sitting, is like riding down a highway at 87,000 miles an hour and seeing a billboard with just an image going by, and just then ignoring that image and seeing a building and having a flash of a building, and then having that flash and that staying in my mind and cluttering me up, but without really noticing what the billboard says or the architecture of the building. And listening to Aaron's speaking slows down that process into such an exquisite beauty of each of those moments to the place of bliss that just maybe went by so fast for me. And then noticing. So when you said in your talk, no antidote, I think I heard you said no antidote to liberation was one of the things. Like, once you're liberated, there's no antidote once you're liberated. And I felt the terror. Oh my gosh, then I have to give up my habits? Oh no. So ordinarily that terror would have been like a billboard going by really fast, just an image fleeting, and then I would have said, oh, no antidote to liberation. That's really great. When I'm liberated, it'll be really great. But I would have passed by the terror.
Dropping into staying present and plugged into luminous awareness and letting go of decisions that this will be that way and that will be this way.
Space struck like a gong and ringing like earthquakes in an Iron Mountain range.
I'm left with the koan of the syllable with no sound.
So what I got from this was coming to me is no attachment, no definition, and yet at the same time there's an attachment to just what is, just as it unfolds.
When one can recognize the doorway, which sometimes has an appearance of something terrifying, one can go through the doorway and open to it's like the terror takes one into the very place that they actually want to be. So.
I feel a connection to the unspoken symbol as pure potential, and the power of that as it unfolds in my life.
the opportunity, if I choose to accept it, of meeting life from the state of awareness at any moment. The absolute relief of not having to know with my mind, because there's so much wisdom in this room, from Aaron to you to Longchenpa to everyone who's spoken so far. I don't have to know because it's all there in awareness. I don't have to know it with my mind, thank God.
The experience of being a boundless ocean, but still in all the words and concepts and experiences just fall in and ripple.
The recognition or realization of the viewless view is fruition blazing beyond space and time. Yeah, ubiquitous and yeah.
The heart as wide as the sky emerged as an image when the words were spoken of bringing the mind into non-duality. Just knowing that all that appears is, the appearance of that cloud or this cloud or that light and that expansiveness, and then that we really are that we are. That any contrived experience forecloses who I am, who I truly am. And that each time I hear in any form awareness as awareness, it cuts through any contrived experience.
The opening of objectivity, that rather than holding it as an independence of judgment, where I'm looking at what's relevant and what's not relevant as what can be used or not used, what's useful or not useful, it instead becomes an independence of awareness, in which case the science and Dzogchen don't look so much different anymore.
Well said. I'm gonna. Oh yes, Patricia.
The exhilaration, the truth, and the deep rest of being free of expectations.
Thank you. Oh my God. go back to my friend's letter, where this person begins. I'm realizing that I've maintained a distinct separation between meditation, formal sitting, and you can also put practices, and the post-meditation state. This has allowed the capacity to easily achieve an open awareness. But that state, I've discovered, is very vulnerable to the human experience of daily life. So we'll focus for a few moments right now. Actually, today or yesterday, we're ending an eclipse. Through an eclipse, actually. So, again, and should be ending somewhat of another phase, the cosmological level. When you have an eclipse, where that eclipse passes through in light of your cosmological map, so to speak, can have no effect or a vast amount of effect for a period. So let's just sit for a few minutes. Isn't it a great statement? I'd like to read it again if you don't mind. You know how sometimes politics, like religion, is entertainment. No offense. I'm realizing that I've maintained a distinct separation between meditation, formal sitting, and everything that goes with that, and the post-meditation state. And this has allowed the capacity to easily achieve an open awareness. But that state, I've discovered, is very vulnerable to the human experience of daily life. Isn't that fantastically said? Do we take that? That daily life, as the yogis describe it, pretty much every practice, charnel ground, terra, and palaces. Have you been in both this week? Maybe just one. Or both, you know? Sometimes the same time. I always still think of Yen Chin, who we've studied with, many of us here. We tend to study with people like for 6 years. Same traditions often. And he would say, he's talking about phobia. Not fear, but phobia actually says it better. Nothing you want to understand from this awareness, from the Qigong state, as he would say it, which is the field, nothing is unbearable. And wherever unbearableness is for you, you will meet it in this life. Wherever unbearableness is for you, you will meet it in this life. You will meet it early, you may meet it later, but you will meet it. And in meeting it, is liberation. How you meet it. Then I think of Joao de Deus also. It's coming to mind. A lot of these people. Where it's talking about shamanism. Do you know the secret? Yeah. But it's an opens, is holding terror and light. And whatever that means for you or for those you love, right? And whether it's momentary or goes on days and weeks and years. And actually holding it both simultaneously in the light. That's what my friend is saying right there in that letter. So, I think we have to get used to this at some point. And not be surprised, stunned, saturated, to use that great phrase from Aaron, saturated. This is for all of us, right? Every moment. Holding awareness, integrating it. Integrating everything in it. Everything. Everything. We'll sit with awareness for a few more, another half an hour. Are you in awareness right now? Say yes if you are. Now, one of the things about holding awareness in daily life in this world as it is, even Padma Baba said when the iron machines fly, that's when Dzogchen really comes into fruition. Which is now. Iron bird, yeah. That's when Dzogchen. Because a lot of everything else is going to just drop away. Just dropping away. Like religion is dropping away. As something other than catechism-like thoughts. Fundamentalists. Facts. Are you in awareness right now? So, a lot of times when the bad moments or bad days or bad weeks or bad cycles, bad eclipse pattern, which can last, is there, we contract, right? You ever notice that? You contract. You just contract. And the field disappears, awareness disappears. But that is why it is really great to have friends. Because in situations, to have a field that's beyond your body, beyond your mind, if you can be in the field and connect to otherness, to the companion. Those days we use the word consort, but companions. And you hold the field with companions. 2 awarenesses are truly better than 1. 10 are better than 1, better than 2. Because in holding the field with other people, that self-object function takes place for you. And you can be in the field no matter what you're going through. Number 1, at this level. And number 2, if you've developed the capacity to invoke, not identify with in some kind of mental, I'm identifying with this or that mentally, big deal, comic book stuff. But if you can invoke and bring forth within your own body the archetypical dimension, like many of you can here, bringing forth the archetype brings you and those whom you're with into the archetypical dimension. If you're in the archetypical field, I will be in it if I'm sitting near you. I may not know it, but it will resonate with me. If you're in the archetypical field, the archetype is arising in you, whatever one you love and like, whatever one manifests in you, if one will take you out of being a victim. And victimhood, a la Swami Muktananda, Laman Dujum Rinpoche, Dujum Lingpa, victimhood is the great saboteur. Being a victim. Because a victim disempowers the experience of awareness. It disempowers the empowerments that you are. So victimhood is very, very, very tricky. Because then we can get out of victimhood by just being naive. Duh. Everything is just good. But to be in the place where we metabolize being a victim, then the empowerments really come into our bodies more. Huh? You follow that? So the empowerment of the archetypical dimension is not a practice begging for help outside. It's really the capacity to experience Sambhogakaya, the archetypical dimension, with our own bodies and minds, just as we are. Even with everything being there, we're integrating that into the archetypical realm. Say yes if that makes sense for you. So you have to ask yourself, am I developing that capacity of invoking, of bringing forth that dimension into myself? Huh? Or discovering it into myself, or feeling it into myself? And if I can't do it in myself at times, because sometimes I'm just really fucked up, then maybe I can feel it in you or you or you. It's actually just as great. Oh, I can feel that in you. If I can open to feel that in you, then naturally speaking, itself arises in me. Naturally, itself arises without effort. This has allowed the capacity to easily, for me, to easily achieve an open awareness. But that state, I've discovered, is very vulnerable to the human experience of daily life. Let's extend through our bodies for a moment. Embodying. Let's bring our minds down into our heart. Gudapa Tantra. Let's extend to our ancestors in generosity. Mothers and the fathers. Now we're bringing in the generational field, and we're bringing it through mutual in the light. Let's extend to the great yogis. Those people who embody awareness so completely that the invisible becomes visible. We'll extend to them. Let's extend to Tai Situ, who will be coming direct. Let's extend to the different traditions that meet in our body. It's so amazing, huh? As we extend to the different traditions that we participate and meet in our body, it actually helps us slip into what Tanya described as the viewless view, right? And all these great traditions, they come to the point where they dissolve into the viewless view. If they're authentic. And then at that point, you and I, with vast gratitude, become culture free. Can you even imagine that? Culture free? Just for a moment? Culture free. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll meet a person who's culture free. And they have that view. They feel all the different views, but they're culture free. They're not stupid. They're not blanking out. But that viewless view. Can you feel that possibility in you of the viewless view? Culture free for a moment. A person's poem that describes that, sort of rambling now, is Dusha Rinpoche's poem, which I don't have down here right now, maybe of the accomplishment of my aspirations. And in that poem, he describes entering the viewless view. So he starts off with the guru, and he loves the guru, and his gratitude to the guru. And suddenly he realizes, whoa, this guru, I've never been separated, never apart. I am the guru. The guru is me. I'm that. Then the guru disappears, that culture. And then he goes to the Dakini, the Vajrayogini. I love you, blessings. And then suddenly, wait a minute, that is my own being. And she disappears. Then he goes to the different realms. Oh, this realm and that realm. And each realm of his lineage and what he loves and what has sustained him and brought him and what he's a master of, life after life, it all disappears. Totally disappears. So, let's do a geometry now, okay? We'll do a geometry. But let's stay in whatever place you're at. Let's not pop out. And let's stay in awareness for a while, okay? Maybe one person can be there and one person there. We'll start off with a triangle like we always do. I'm going to read one more statement from this friend's letter. And he says this. Perhaps at times I take the burden of taking personally what is transpersonal. Now by transpersonal, he doesn't mean out there. What's another word for the transcendental? By transpersonal, he's not meaning transcendental. I mean, I'm taking personal this particular singular event, which is an aspect of my personal life, but I'm locating it totally personal and not really in the ground of the transpersonal. That is a profoundly liberating statement. Perhaps I'm taking the burden, or the burden of taking personally, what is actually transpersonal. We don't use that word a lot, but it's a good word here. That's really beyond simply the personal. It's simply beyond me and you personally, this very moment we're in. And if I can understand that, that's actually more fuller, more dynamic, more liberating than just thinking it's me and you alone. See if anybody says anything else. Mm-hmm. And he makes us one more statement. I'm experiencing now more and more that the aim is not simply creating, in quotes, a healthy, conventional life. Normalcy. Neurotic personality, right? But rather liberation. Liberation. Huh? The givenness of everything. Great. So here we are. Hope everybody's enjoying today. Thank Erin for her great poems. And in fact, I'm going to have infomercial time. Would you make an announcement about the journal? And this is not contrived.
Soon, when the timing comes, we are going to have a chapter of the transmission journal called Poetic Awareness.
Poetics of Awareness.
Poetics of Awareness. And I'm going to be the contact person for that. And so I'd like anybody I can send on the Wednesday morning group, I can send my email in case somebody doesn't have it. So anything that you've written that you would like to have put in the Poetics of Awareness chapter of the Transmission Journal, send to me, and then I'll be sort of a first reader, and then I will have others read it, and then we will see if it fits what the vision of the chapter is. And the vision of the chapter really is to have everything come from a place of awareness, just like we spoke this morning. And so it's not about really achieving being a writer. It's really sharing what wants to come through each one of us. And what wants to come through us may not look anything like what you think wants to come through you. So I really, I can speak from my own experiences, and I'm sure everybody here can, that it's a beautiful experience when that can happen, and it happens without trying. So I hope that we'll have lots of entries.
Thank you so much. There's no deadline. There's no beginning line. We kind of happen along here. We're about 3 years behind in the journal right now, but we're waiting. So it's moving, okay. And so it really depends what comes forth, what you place, and when enough is enough, it'll be online. Great. Thank you, guys. So maybe someone can come sit in the middle. Who would like to? Great. So let's focus on you. We're going to extend into, not from our mind, extending from our mind, good wishes. Oh, we wish you well. But extending from feeling the arising Just like the heart drops, right? It has a wish, a desire, a wish, that arising. And extend into Kay's present moment, and into her past, and into her future. In a profound way in Dzogchen, there are 4 times, right? Present, past, future, timeless. And sometimes this arising within us can be of what will actually happen, we don't know. But we do know at some level it can help make the unbearable bearable for people. Because some people are going to go through shit, right? It's unfolding there, but it helps, like it does for us also. The light of awareness helps the unbearable become bearable. And whatever's bearable become really fun. And we extend to our future. Anytime we extend to a person, we extend to their generational field. There's no... And as one person extends through the other, the energy gets more powerful. So as Marla extends through Elizabeth, and that attunement that it comes into Kay, more intensity. As Doers Rinpoche says, do not waste your time begging, but really take forth the light into your own capacity. And whoever we extend to, the more we have a personal connection to them, the more direct it is. And sometimes you may feel or experience, because of awareness, not just the capacity of picking up other people's affects, which is not necessarily so useful, but you can actually experience that experience coming through to you. At that point, because of the power you have, look at your histories, then you can help metabolize that for that person up to a point. And then you can also extend that to the archetypical realm, which is actually an extension of you, and you extend it to the great yogis you've had the good fortune of meeting. Thank you very much. Somebody else want to come up in the middle? Okay, we'll hold this. We'll hold that fire of awareness, huh? The light. Let's intensify that. So now, I'm holding Carolyn in awareness in gnosis. Inside to inside, directly. Clearly. Feel our backs opening The energy coming, we're invoking the archetypical domain, the deities, Devas, Dakini. She loves the Divine Mother. Ah, that's what we invoke. Then as it arises in her, it arises in us. This is why this entire trip is co-emergent. 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 And then she brings her daily life into the moment. She can feel behind her. She can feel in front of her. She can feel to the right, to the left. She can go all the way through the entire group. Like Shiva, blue-throated one, metabolizing what can be metabolized. Or simply releasing what is manifesting, just releasing it. Then she's not going to end it. She's not going to get up and leave it and think, oh, what a great experience that was. Because she's not leaving this experience of Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya in oneness. Thank you so much. Somebody else like to come in the middle today? Go, good to see you. Welcome back. Great. We'll focus on Carol. That's now we're a little better now than we were when we began, right? So now the field gets more alive, more fuller, more red. So let's lean into her. But we're leaning into from our lower bodies first, like ground, leaning into ground first. Then from ground it rises up, like the natural unfolding. Up, up. And it comes around us, right? But then we're in one dome. And with that, let's extend her from the inner heart essence, like the heart drops. So and you can feel her receiving it. So you can feel when a person's receiving that, what happens to you? It grows stronger because there's that mutual give and take simultaneously, right? So it gets more stronger. And also the energy opens you up more. You with me? This is not pissing in the wind. And we'll extend again. And let's us gently pass into her. Let's go a little further and enter that realm. Awareness meeting awareness. So then the non-dual becomes more felt. Indivisibility, more experience. And then at this moment, she can also bring daily life. So two awarenesses are better than one is not simply an intersubjective experience or interpersonal, but it's also inside to inside, right? As Lama Norla described it, mingling of the minds. Thank you so much. And somebody else? We'll extend to our friends on the internet too right now. We'll extend to Lynn also. Extend to our friends. There they are. We'll extend to Lynn. So in extending to Lynn this time, let's extend through Lynn to the person who are on the other side. This is really very good. It's like extending conjunctio, extending a state of union in a person, right? If I extend to the two people on the other side of me, you can do the same thing. A lot of times when we're between two people, it's not union. Strife at times, right? But we can do this way. So with this extension, anybody losing energy, getting weakened, their life force dropping aside, or does the vitalism grow? It grows out of relatedness. Huh? It's a give and take. It's like food. You can bring that daily life into your awareness, not your mind. It should not stay in your mind. If it's in your mind, it's more the same. Another compulsive moment. Tormenting, with no place to go. You bring it into heart essence. Then something's happening, but only for her. Stability. A-okay? Having a good time? You look great. Thank you. Let's focus on our friends on the internet. So how are you guys doing today? Hi, Nancy. What's happening? What's happening?
Hi. I'm loving this. I was really in the cutting through before. The cutting through the rigidity of circumstance. That kind of thick circumstance to luminosity, to the open space. And so cool to be on the internet and be in the feeling.
Yes. You know, what you're saying is helping me remember something. And as we touched on determinacy, you're in a situation, it's totally determined. And at the same time, you can feel this total indeterminateness, like anything can happen. But that indeterminateness is not necessarily potentiality. I can be in terrible indeterminate situations. Shit from the right, shit from the left, and deeper from this side. So indeterminacy, the feeling of indeterminate moments, is not necessarily potential space. Potential space is actually more subtle, deeper if you want to use the word, more primal than simply the feeling of the indeterminacy of the moment, like the stock market at this very moment. That indeterminacy is not potential space. You with me? And if we confuse that, we'll suffer. Indeterminacy. Thank you. And Gisela, how you doing? Gisela? Let's see. Kathy.
going through a process with this day of being online, of having these kinds of sadness and sad feelings, or kind of on the edge of depression, and instead of sort of trying to get happy and feel great, just sort of being with them, and I found particularly the second half of today just a sort of opening of that within those feelings, or opening of space. And I love the letter that you read, which I think in a way says we can't bury ourselves off from some of this, which is inherent in human life. Some of these senses of sadness and all. So I really appreciate today, and feel just feel a sense of openness and comfort. I don't know, comfort is not right, but sort of an okayness with where things are.
Thank you so much. And Catherine. Catherine, we don't hear you. I'll come back to you in a second. If you have to turn it, you're in mute. You're mute. Stillness. There we go. There we go. Great. There you are. That's okay. Hi.
Hi.
What's happening?
First, in the field, my various health issues, and lack of stamina and mental clarity.
Do you feel the feel right now?
Huh?
Do you feel the feel?
Oh, I feel the feel.
Okay. Now, are you eating it? Are you taking it in like consumption?
I can tell that there's like a little bit of a in and out,
Mm-hmm.
in and out.
What's it like for you to feel the feel? You can see Elizabeth there and people in front of her. Can you simply suspend your mind? It's almost like having dinner in stillness. I'm serious. You can see them there. And you're not putting out, you're not giving out. You are simply receiving. And what's it like as you play with this?
First, receiving often is not my strength.
So, what's it like to think that is what you're playing with right now, is receiving? Period. Thank you.
This is a very, if you put language on it, you could say a artistic bargaining space.
Yes. So we're going to leave it at that at this moment. Thank you. And Marianne, you want to take it off mute? What's happening?
I'm waiting for Verizon, so I may have to end it any moment.
Oh, good. I know the feeling. You look great, by the way.
So I've just been feeling a lot of spaciousness.
Cool.
Just that sense of sinking in, and that sense of everything's included.
Beautifully described.
Yeah, so that's my experiences. And like Kathy, I also, am more challenged with receiving. Getting there, but still more challenged.
Thank you. And finally, Gisela. You have to unmute you. There we go, in Florida. We have Florida here now.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It started with Aaron's poetry. I fell deeply into awareness, suddenly into spaciousness, blackness, fearfulness, and then joyousness. And for me, I recognize that the biggest issue is not striving. There's a German word for it. It's streben.
Oh, that says it. That really says it. I feel it.
It is challenging for someone of Germanic temperament to surrender that striving. But when I experience the lack of striving, I am in a joyous state. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And I'm so glad we can see you all. And believe it or not, we now have, going to be set up soon, a new microphone that you can hear the music. So that should be great. So with that understanding, let's extend to each other. We're not going to have meditation here this Friday, and we're not going to have Dakini. We won't do it, but we're going to give, you'll be doing Dakini great. That'd be great. And we'll be, I think we'd take the same. A lot of times we've been playing Lama Torch, and it's been by accident, but actually I find it very useful to hear 20 minutes and to rehear it, because he starts going along there, and suddenly this opens up, and then it comes through. So do that. So let's extend to each other again. Let's extend to the sky. Let's extend to the earth. Let's extend to that fire of awareness. Let's extend to the wind. Let's extend to the person who wrote that letter. With that, we're not ending up. We're just leaving this situation and entering another one. Yes. And the water, thank you. Let's extend to the water. Water. I'm going to give the water extra time now. Thank you, guys. Meet you all next week. Take it easy. See you later. Thank you, Tom.
Have you been in this seminar long? Nice having you again.